It's time for Quarantine Cabaret Cocktails with Robert Bannon and Lee Lessack.
Be loved, to be loved. Lee, it's gonna be Valentine's Day. Look, I even have a heart mask. You're muted again. I'm sorry. Hi, everybody. This is Marcel.
Is that better? I don't know why that happened. I don't know. I don't know. How are you?
Welcome to our Valentine's Day.
I've never been more proud that you live so close to a dollar store.
Listen, me and the Dollar Tree people are so close. We're close.
I know. You're like the prop meister.
I'm like Gallagher. That's what.
Right. Remember Gallagher?
With a watermelon. Yes. How are you?
I'm good.
What a week it's been. We are getting ready for our brand new project, which starts next Wednesday.
Oh my God. It's a little nerve-wracking. It's like a full-time job.
It's been months. We've been planning the Broadway Cast Reunion series, which will be on Wednesdays for literally since the summer.
Since August. Yeah. So for those of you that are tuning in for the first time or have been living under a rock, you might not know about this series, but we, on our show, our weekly quarantine show every Thursday, we have done a handful of Broadway cast reunions that just randomly sort of showed up, and they've been really fun, and we've gotten a great response. And so back in the summer, I was chatting with a friend of mine who is the programming director for a wonderful performing arts center in Milwaukee. It also happens to be the venue that hosts all of the Broadway national tours. And he said, you know, I'm a big fan of your quarantine show, especially when you do your cast reunions. And long story short, he planted the seed that there's a value in these, you know, backstage reunions because these theaters remain dark for over a year, it'll be. And it's a way to keep their patrons engaged. So we are reuniting the Broadway casts of all of the musicals that were planning to tour in 2020 and will hopefully resume in 2021. And starting next Wednesday, the 17th, is the debut of the Broadway Cast Reunion series. We've got the original Broadway principal cast of Frozen. We're really excited about that. The following week, we have Hadestown on the 24th, including Rachel Chavkin, who directed it, and Anais Mitchell, who wrote it. And then it'll go every other week after that. So in March, we've got Lion King and Dear Evan Hansen, and it'll go on from there. We're pinning down dates. We have Jersey Boys coming up, and My Fair Lady, and Waitress, and Chicago, and
we just found out about Lion King
yesterday. And this morning we found out that Heather Headley, from the original Broadway production, she was the original Nala. Then she went on to win a Tony Award for Aida, and now she's Heather Headley. And she's going to join us, which is great. I'm thrilled. So yeah, it's been really fun. I'm going to just pop up on the screen our schedule so you can see it.
We're so high tech here. The Broadway BroadwayCastReunion.com.
If you just go to BroadwayCastReunion.com, you can find out everything you need to know about that. Oh, here we are. I've got it right here.
Here's the technical wizard.
Last week we were so spoiled because Jonathan Hawkins, who production designed this whole thing, and he was free last Thursday, so he said, "Oh, I'll engineer for you." It was so nice. I didn't have to do a thing. Now I have to find all these little buttons.
I've tried to engineer the show twice, and Lee's in charge.
How was your week?
My week was good. I want to give a big shout out to Alana Keller, who's at the Asbury Park Press. She wrote a really great story about Lee and myself's journey to this show and for the Broadway Cast Reunion in Asbury Park Press. that was really fun to read, and people were really sweet. My week was really good. I think we're getting in there. It's President's Day weekend, so there's
So we're off on Monday. Like
I'm off Friday and Monday.
Wow. Well, I've been off since March 12th. So there.
How was your week?
My week was good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
You have the dogs and you have Mark, and that's.
I have the dogs. I have Mark. I left the house, I think, once.
Yeah. Trader Joe's outing. I mean, that's
the Super Bowl was on Sunday. That was fun.
Yes. The Super Bowl. I love The Weeknd and his Liza Minnelli jacket, and I love The Weeknd. Lee, I don't know if you want to do it now or later, but we do have a contest today.
Well, let's do it now. Oh, that's right. That's right. We're giving away a free ticket to the Frozen Broadway cast reunion, right?
So everyone that follows us on the Instagram page, the Broadway Cast Reunion series, if you followed us and you tagged 2 friends, you got a free entry into our drawing. We've done 3 of them. We've had hundreds of people. We had 64 entries for this one. Now everyone's going to cross their fingers and hope I know what I'm doing. Okay, we're going to try this. What could go wrong? Here we go. Is this share? Is this working?
Yes, there you go.
Look, we have all of the entries right here. If everyone for every 2, they got an extra one.
Gosh, that's amazing.
We're gonna shuffle up the names, and we're gonna spin this wheel right now for a lucky winner.
This is very high tech. This is very high tech. Who is it? It's Justin Brown.
Look at the confetti cheering.
Wow.
This show.
You spare no expense.
We are very high tech here. In full disclosure, this was not cheated, but I do cheat. There was no cheating. Jersey English. There was no cheating, but I do know Justin. Justin is Casey Levy's biggest fan. He was.
So he's excited to get a ticket to Frozen cast reunion.
When I did Rent, he was the Mark to my Roger.
Oh, that's so nice. Well, congratulations, Justin. We will be sending you a ticket. You'll get a ticket from Stellar Tickets, and then you'll be able to watch the cast reunion on Wednesday. So we're very excited about that. But we have a full show tonight. Our first guest was on season 7 of American Idol. I think they're up to season 17.
116.
I'm sure I'm wrong. He'll tell me. But anyway, it was a while ago. But that's when he came to the public eye. He's a great singer and a good friend of our dear friend Michael Orland. So it's like a very small world. So I just want to play you a little snippet of his career. So for those of you that don't know, David Hernandez, you're about to.
I finished crying in the instant that you left, and I can't remember where or when or how, and I banished every memory you and I had ever made. Baby, you're beautiful. I think you're beautiful. Incredible, so unforgettable. Yeah, I think you're beautiful. So tonight, it's just you and I. We're on fire, no one burns it brighter. So damn incredible, so unforgettable. Yeah, I think you're beautiful. What are you in the mood for? Wanna tear up the dance floor downtown? Or we can just sit. I've always held on to my ring, but I'll put my kingdom in your name, 'cause you're taking all from me.
Hey there.
Hey. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. The pleasure's all mine. Thank you guys.
How are you? How's this been for you the last 11 months?
Well, there's been some adjustments for sure. Some days are better than others, but I think we're kind of getting the hang of it, hopefully now. And I'm just praying the entertainment comes back swiftly when this is all over. So yeah, it's been interesting to say the least, for sure.
What were you doing just before the quarantine started?
Oh, working. Yeah, that part. Yeah, I was actually, this was in March. I had a show scheduled the week that we all were quarantined. And then I had a tour starting up in April that went all the way through to September. And then, of course, when that ended, I would then do like one-off dates for holiday shows like Christmas and New Year's, of course, is always a big money gig for all entertainers. So we all thought it would be over by my birthday, which was in May. But here we are again, approaching yet another birthday, and I'm not really too sold on it being over. So
wow. And what have you been doing to keep yourself sane and occupied in the last 11 months?
Yeah. So, well, I mean, I don't know what got into me, but I got really heavy into my fitness, which was a huge mental health relief for me. Cause I it started going kind of south there in terms of the way that I was feeling. And like, I started getting depressed, and I was, drinking a little bit too much tequila, and realizing I wasn't being that productive. And when I snapped out of it, I literally released 5 music videos in the course of, I want to say 7 months, 5 singles. And then I put together an entire Christmas album, released that. And now I'm just working on the next single. So I think, to answer your question, I've been diving in creatively more than I ever have in my entire life in such a short frame of time. And I think that I can attribute that towards just survival. Like, I think I had to get into something that felt productive and had purpose. So I was just like, what am I good at? And obviously music and songwriting. So I literally just nosedived into that and became like my good friend Todrick Hall, and just started releasing content after content, regardless if anyone cared or not. I cared. So
Well,
yeah,
that's funny because me and Lee have been working on a musical project for me, and it's taken over a year. And when I see people like you or Todrick puts out stuff, the turnaround, it's such a skill and talent to be able to write something, record something, film something, put it out in the world, and spin it out so fast is really a talent of itself.
Well, finding the people behind you, like your team, is so essential. And I don't know how I did it, but most of my team now comprises of people that I've actually never met face to face. Isn't that crazy? Like, I met them during this quarantine via like email, Facebook, Instagram, and then we jumped on board, and like, I don't know what got into all of us, but we just literally, and it starts in my studio, in my apartment, the concepts and ideas, but then I would never get it to the finished product if it wasn't for like my good friend Brady Kerr, who does all my graphics, Arno Diem, who shoots all my videos, my boyfriend, who co-directs all my videos with me. So it's crazy how we all just came together in this little tiny online community. And I don't know, it's kind of bizarre. I haven't met half these people in person. Not even my boyfriend. I've never met him before. I'm joking.
Listen, Robert and I had never met. And his sax player that was working on his album reached out to me. He knew I had a record label, and he asked whether I would take a conference call with Robert, and I did. This was over a year ago, and we talked about the project. I knew his musical director and arranger, Ted Firth, who is one of the most brilliant jazz arrangers on the planet. So I knew that it was going to be brilliant, but I didn't know Robert, and I agreed. I said, yes, we'll release this. And then it was January of 2020, and I went out on tour, and I came home in March, and Robert texted me with some licensing questions. And we started like having these nightly cocktail chats over FaceTime.
Yeah.
And after like a week of laughing a lot, I said, I think we should do like a live stream talk show, because I think we're entertaining. And
yeah, you are.
So we started this show, and we went 20 weeks. We had never met.
We've met for one day. One day when I was in LA, we met.
He was in LA to re-record some vocals, and we got to meet. So,
See, and who says you can't have a long distance relationship? You know,
Right.
Trust me, I know.
if the connection's there, it's there. Whether you're in person, I mean, it's always better to be in person. But I really do like. I have friends who started off like dating long distance for 4 years, and they've been married for 20 now.
Yeah.
But it's like that was like before all of our modern technology. So I'm like, how the hell did you just go with talking on the phone or shitty dial-up cable?
No,
I
listen.
don't know, but yeah. It's cool though. So you guys have shared similar creative experiences in terms
We
of
have.
That's pretty cool.
We have.
Yeah.
And I get the long distance thing. I'm in Jersey and Boo is in LA. So like I do the whole long distance, and you can do it. You could do it in music, and you could do it in. It takes a lot of patience.
It's a lot of patience. Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah.
Speaking of,
Go on. No, go.
I grew up and I remember season 7 of American Idol, and what I find so interesting about reading your story and watching your videos is the longevity of your career. Season 7 was a moment ago, and you have built this whole entire career as an artist since that platform, and not everybody has been able to do that. What do you think? What was your trick? And probably hard work and talent. But what road? Like, how has that show? How do you feel about it now? Being removed, and how it helped you in this career?
That's a really good question. Because up until this point, up until the pandemic hit, and we all hate a pandemic, obviously. But I think a lot of us artists, and I've talked to a lot of peers of mine, we're kind of spinning our wheels and going from. Didn't really realize the money we were making because it was just going, and there wasn't, you get in this cycle of like spending and living in an expensive city and just throwing all this money away when you step outside of your door. And I think I've learned a lot about balance, and I think looking back, I've become more proud of myself, and all the things that I've done, but I didn't realize in the moment. Just much like when I was on Idol, it was just a whirlwind, and you're just going from one show to the next, to a rehearsal, to yada yada. And I was, after Idol, I've been on tour for like the last 12 years. So for me, it's been literally like one show to the next for 12 years, not really stopping to be. And people would always say like, God, you're so blessed to be still going, right? Like, even though you're not on the front of People magazine every day, like there are careers that aren't just on the front of People magazine. Mm-hmm. And I never, it's like, yeah, but I have so much more to achieve. And it's just such a shitty way to look at life sometimes, because I think that you have to appreciate and this is going to sound cheesy, but the climb, like, all the little, I've done so many incredible things. And one of the most incredible things that I've done is my USO tours, when I get to meet our troops overseas that are literally fighting for the freedoms we take for granted. So to be able to do that, and some people have never done that, is just such a blessing. And I think this whole thing has really taught me to like appreciate life, and like all the career highs that you experience, and the lows too, because they make you who you are. So I think that's my answer to the question. I talk about.
And you have a new project. I'm going to flash it up on the screen so everybody can see it.
Ooh.
Tell us about Kingdom.
Kingdom, that's my baby. I wrote that song at a really, really tough point in my life. I want to say maybe 4 years ago. I was in the studio with a couple of co-writers of mine, and we originally intended the song to be for Lucifer, the TV show.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, we wanted something. We were going to pitch it to them, and then we wrote it, and I was like, "This is so personal. There's no way. Like, let's write another song for Lucifer. Let's just keep this one for me." And so I put it on my album in 2018, and then I just re-released it last October because I thought it deserved more than just a casual track on an album. I was like, let's create a visual for this. I want it to be intimate. The song is so like, and it's funny, we're approaching Valentine's Day, and this coincidentally, my publicist was like, hey, Quarantine and Cocktails, like, they would love to have you. And I was like, absolutely. And then Valentine's Day was coming up, and they're like, well, what single do you want to promote? And I'm like, well, the last single, of course, which is the opposite of love, right? It's like more infatuation. But I think it's also important because on Valentine's Day, like, not everyone is experiencing bliss and like happy, especially in quarantine. Like, even if you are with somebody, you're like, I see you all the effing time. Like, yeah, so for me, like,
I've never thought that for a moment in the last 11 months.
Oh my God. I mean, and it's all, there's two sides to every story, then there's the truth. So, you know, Kingdom's a baby of mine, and I think it's so relatable to so many people. Even if you're currently happy, like you can think back to when somebody drove you to the point of, I will literally sacrifice my entire world just to have you, which is crazy, but we do it all the time, you know?
Sure. I'm going to flash that up again.
Yeah.
Kingdom. David Hernandez, it's available, I assume, everywhere. Fine music is
the video's
available.
on YouTube, and then it's on all digital platforms, including like TikTok and Instagram and all those fun sites that, you know, we're obsessed with.
If you want, he's got the love songs, the club songs, the anthems. He's got them all. So you released a ton of music, dance, sing, right? You do everything. So
all the things, and I'm doing like customized videos right now for Valentine's Day with people. So if you find me on social media, DM me, and I'm doing a 30-second song plus a like a personalized message for anybody, and it could be even, you know, to like, you know, someone you're stalking. I'll just
you'll help stalk.
I know how to stalk. Well,
it's so nice to actually meet you, and thank you for joining us, and best of luck with the single, and stay safe. And we look forward to seeing you again in person in a concert venue soon.
Me too. I look forward to meeting you guys. Thank you for having me.
Stranger.
Let me know when you're heading to Larchmont. I'll meet you for coffee.
Yes, let's do it.
Done.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks. So much fun.
So much fun. We have another artist who's an incredible singer-songwriter and activist. And I've been like pouring through his material because I did not know him until a week ago when his publicist pitched the idea to have him on the show. And he's really talented. And I just want to introduce everybody to Justin Utley.
You're the ones you keep from healing, the kind that keep on bleeding, all the secrets you've been keeping from the start. Let me see your scars. Well, I'm leaving all the madness behind me, the danger, it might come back to bite me. Stop waiting for love to find me. Close my eyes and count to 10. I'm breathing out and breathing in. I can't go back to where we've been. I'm letting go. Get out from underneath my skin. Don't wanna see your face again. Letting go of what we've been. Get out from underneath my skin.
Justin Utley.
Hey,
Welcome.
thanks for having me.
How are you?
We're
Doing well,
okay.
thank you.
Being here.
Yeah, this is pretty
So
awesome.
you're in Florida at the moment.
Yeah, I had escaped some of the cold in Utah and escaped the torches and pitchforks at the Capitol right now because they're voting on whether to let trans girls compete in sports in grade school. Apparently that's up in arms and people are freaking out about it. But my view is like they're kids. Let them just play sports.
Hello.
Grade school. So
Crazy.
anyway, escape with my life and went out to Florida to do some music rehearsing and hang out with some friends.
Nice.
Well, I know me and Lee were talking about you and your story and your journey before, and we have not spoken to you about it, but I know that you've been pretty outspoken about your journey and your story. How did you end up becoming the singer-songwriter and growing up in Utah, like you were just saying, and your journey to where you are now?
Well, in Mormondom, a lot of arts are cultivated by parents, and so a lot of kids grow up playing an instrument or being involved in theater and stuff like that. So my brothers are both painters. They're very, very good. My dad's an excellent painter. They're all like the Bob Ross kind, where it's like a happy tree and a happy cloud. My dad tried to get me to paint, and it just wouldn't work. My stuff was very one-dimensional, and it just didn't work. And we tried some different things, and then eventually my mom put me in piano lessons, and I did that from an early age up to about 6th grade or 7th grade, and then I got fired from piano lessons because I started playing stuff by ear and writing my own stuff instead of playing what was on the sheet music. I was at a recital, I believe, and I was supposed to play the Superman theme song, and I played it, but I just didn't play it in the key that it was in on the sheet music, and I just jazzed it up. It was amazing. I thought it was. And then my piano teacher turns to my parents, and she's like, "He's out. No, I can't do this."
No creativity allowed.
Wow.
So
And you
I
have
started around 6th grade, and then a lot of it was piano based. I started my career doing music that was kind of centered around Mormon church stuff. So it was kind of like Christian contemporary rock, but for the Mormons. And did that for a few years, did a few tours, and then went on my Mormon mission, which is when I realized I was gay, and came back and went through conversion therapy, which was to change my sexual orientation. I did that for about 2 years, and while I was in that, my songwriting obviously reflected that change in the struggle that I was dealing with, and the pain and the frustration, because ultimately it doesn't work, so it ends in anguish. And so my songwriting turned from finding a place of hope in the sky to finding a place of hope within yourself.
Wow.
And that even if you can't see a silver lining, that you can always make one for yourself.
Right.
And that's what's kept me going, and that's what my songwriting has kind of evolved into.
Wow. Did you, when you started conversion therapy, if you remember, did you believe that it would be successful for you, or were you going through? You did.
Oh yeah, I tried to come out to my bishop, who's kind of overseeing a certain demographic or a certain segment of the community. Each community has their own little bishop. Every little community has their own bishop. And so I went to go see mine, and I said, "Hey, I have these feelings. I'm realizing it's not just admiration. There's an attraction there. What do I do? How do I come out to my family?" And he basically said, "You don't come out to your family. You have what's called same gender attraction disorder, or what they call SSA, same-sex attraction." They won't use the term gay, because I was taught in conversion therapy that gay is a verb, and that you're not gay if you don't act gay. So I ran with that. He said it's been proven to work. There's been success stories, and there's many men that are struggling with their same-sex attraction problems, that are married with children, and they have successful marriages, according to him. And so I believed it. And so I went to a one-on-one therapist through their mental health arm for the church. And then I went to a group therapy once a week, where we learned different reasons for this attraction, where they kind of pull the old school answers of your father being absent or your mother being overbearing. And my dad was like scoutmaster for 105 years or something. So, I mean, he was there all the time. He was involved with us as kids in the Cub Scouts and the Boy Scouts and church and all that stuff. My mom is this Italian hot-headed woman who would just send me and my brothers out to the backyard to kill each other and then come back in for dinner. So nothing was really different than any other family, really. And I thought, maybe there's got to be something else. There's got to be a different reason that I have these feelings. because again, they try to diagnose it that it's a disorder and that it's not just what it is that you're a beautiful human being. They can't conceptualize that. And so they eventually convinced me that I had been sexually abused as a child, and I just didn't remember, and that it was so awful that I had repressed the memories, and that anxiety would trigger the PTSD from those episodes, and I would behave like the person that abused me. It wasn't that I was actually gay, I had a behavioral problem due to that. And I believed it because in that community, if you come out, if you leave the Mormon church, it's a very tight-knit community, and you lose friends, you can lose your family, you lose extended family, you lose your social network, your support, emotionally and physically supported. You lose a lot of things, and so there's a huge risk in stepping outside that box. And so I ran with that for a while, and it took my mother to really start planting some seeds of doubt in my mind. She heard, because my bishop encouraged me to come out to my family that I was abused, and not that I'm gay, but that I'm a survivor of sexual abuse. And so I tried to come out to my family about that, and they went on a pseudo witch hunt to try to find out who could have done this to me as a child. And as a side note, thank God they didn't find anybody, because that would have been wrong. And what would have happened to that person's life, But my mother caught wind of this, and she called me and she said, I don't know what the hell you are talking about, but I was the perfect Mormon mother while you were growing up. I was home all the time. I made cookies and bread all the time. I was there for you when you came home from school. I dropped you off from school. You never came home from piano lessons hours late. So this thing about you being abused and you don't remember, she's like, I don't believe it. It's a bunch of bullshit. And I don't know what's going on in your life right now, but you can't blame it on a repressed memory of something that never happened to you. And that really, really stuck with me. And so I started sifting through what is real and what isn't, and what is true and what isn't, and started pulling at some of the threads of my belief system and realizing that they weren't all connected and weren't all based in reality, and some of them were just flat out wrong. So I started to date. I dated a guy for about 6 months, and he passed away of a heart attack shortly after we started dating. And so I went back to that bishop and said, look, this is what's happened. I tried the therapy for 2 years. It didn't work. I tried dating someone, and that didn't work. And so now what do I do? And he basically said, and this is doctrinally sound in Mormonism, that God allowed Brent to die because I was not supposed to be in a gay relationship, that I was more chosen as a Mormon than him, and that the sins that I committed with him would now be on my head because I knew better and he didn't. But that is the moment that everything broke. I was broken spiritually and emotionally, and had a suicide attempt that was intervened by my mother. And that changed everything. At the end of it, she said, basically, so just to back up a bit, that's pretty heavy. She found out I was going to commit suicide, and so the police were called, and I was supposed to meet the police just to make sure I was going to be okay. And I was more embarrassed than I was going to be committing suicide at that point. But my mom heard about it and wanted to make sure I was okay. And so she followed the police to where I was supposed to meet them, and she ran a red light with them, and she got into a car accident. And I didn't realize it until I got there. And so I waited in the emergency room, and when she came out, she said basically, like, if this is what it takes for you to learn that you're loved the way you are, then I'll do it again. And that's when my whole trajectory changed as a human, as an artist. My songs became, like I said before, instead of hoping for something in the sky, you're hoping for that silver lining in yourself, and that you have the people around you that love and support you, and that you can do anything with that, and you can do anything with the power that's in yourself. And so my music took a turn into more of a rock feel, a lot more deep hitting emotions like love and loss and heartbreak and being in love. So it took a lot of the fantasy out of the music and brought reality and some deep emotion into it.
Wow.
It's almost like a journal when I listen back to some of the music that I did, both as a Mormon and then my last 2 albums that I released before this new one, and just seeing the difference in where I was in my life.
Right.
It's really cool to see that what am I trying to say? Like, it's almost like a journal.
Sure.
Whole thing. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
I want to flash up on the screen before we go. I want to flash up. You have a new single off of your new album.
Yeah.
Tell us about it. I love this cover art. I love it because I would never pose for that.
That is so good.
So
Justin.
that was a single that I wrote right before the album was supposed to be finished and sent to Abbey Road Studios in London to get mastered.
Oh, wow.
We were down to the wire, and I had just gone through divorce and had enough of this back and forth. We can be friends, we can't be friends. Every time I see you, then I get heartbroken again. I think we've all been there. And that was the first time I had been there with that deep of emotion. And so I wrote it into the song and brought it into the studio. And at first take, it was kind of like, I don't know if we have time to do this. But once I went through the song on the piano, and my co-producer and co-writer turned around and he had tears in his eyes. And he's like, this needs to be on the album. This is too heart-wrenching and too good to not make it. I've also dabbled in theater. I was in an off-Broadway show while I was in New York City called Our Country that went to the New York Musical Theater Festival. And then you were talking about Heather Headley. I debuted as Radames and Aida.
I read that.
Yeah.
I read that. Yeah.
So that was pretty
So
fun.
great.
Yeah.
Well,
did my toe in theater too, but my music is kind of my siren that I love playing too. So
Justin,
I've been listening a lot in the last couple of days, just to familiarize myself. And you're very talented, and I didn't know today how the conversation would go, and it's inspiring to hear your story. And thank you so much for sharing, because I think it'll help a lot of people.
So many people in the LGBT community struggle with shame, struggle with not feeling love, feeling like something's wrong. And for you to share your story and be so brave, so brave against everything you were raised, it really is something that helps a lot of people.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate it. Thank you for your time. Thanks for having me on the show.
Come visit us again.
I will, definitely.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Take care. See you.
Oh, that was lovely.
That's some deep stuff.
Yeah. That was lovely. Really, really sweet. We have one more Valentine.
Oh,
one more Valentine.
She's my Valentine. We fight over her.
Well, you know.
How much of a thing.
We can fight over her, but I'm gonna win.
No, I'm gonna take.
Of course, we're talking about the incredible Grammy nominee, just one of the most gorgeous jazz instruments on the planet, Jane Monheit.
I'm in heaven, and my heart beats so that I can hardly speak. And I seem to find the happiness I seek when we're out together dancing cheek to cheek. I won't dance, don't ask me. I won't dance, don't ask me. I won't dance, monsieur, with you. My heart won't let my feet do things they should do. Over the rainbow, birds fly. High like New York in June, have a
you? I like a Gershwin tune. How about you? I love a fireside when a storm is due. I like potato chips, moonlight, motor trips. How about you? Each day is Valentine's Day.
Oh.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm so good. How are you? Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thank you for joining us. Are you kidding? I remember it was 2000. I was in New Hope, Pennsylvania, doing some tiny little cabaret, and I was staying with my friends Lars and Ron. And Ron put your debut CD, Never Neverland, on the player, and he's like, you have to listen to this. And I was just like gobsmacked. You were young in 2000. How old? 16, 17?
No, I was 22.
22. Okay.
I was about 22. Yeah, when my first record came out, I was 22. So yeah.
Yeah.
Still
That
a baby.
Yeah, still a baby. And I just remember listening to that over and over. And everybody, you know, that had an interest in music that I would encounter, I'd be like, have you heard of Jama?
That's so kind of you. Thank you so much.
Well,
That means a lot to me.
around the same time, 2000, I was working as a artist assistant at the John Horn Center for the Performing Arts in Englewood, New Jersey, and you were there with John Pizzarelli Trio. And I walked into the theater and you were singing, and it was like, just stop. Like, the voice.
Thank you. That's awfully sweet of you to say, really. And Lord knows if I was with John, I was having a wonderful time. He's just my favorite. I've gotten to work with him a lot over the years, and my goodness, he's my favorite. He's the greatest.
I was just reading today that Bucky Pizzarelli played on your debut album.
He did.
And Peter Eldridge did the arrangements.
He did, yes. He arranged almost everything on that record. Let me think. And he'd been my voice teacher all through college. So at that time, I'd been studying with him for 4 solid years. And, you know, he was just the biggest influence on everything in my life. You know, in fact, I'm pretty sure I even ended up with management and all of that stuff because of, you know, the steering that he did. So I wouldn't have even gotten to a place where I was making a record at all without Peter Eldridge. You know, he was my mentor.
It's amazing.
Well, you went to Manhattan School of Music. Is that where and have you been singing jazz in these standards forever? How did you come to start singing like this?
My family raised me on this music, great musical theater, great jazz. And of course the songbook is where that meets in the middle, you know? And so I would hear all of the great singers that span that whole spectrum. You know, I heard all of that growing up, and, I was lucky. They supported me. And when I told everyone I wanted to be a jazz singer from the time I was a baby, and they let me go to music school, and I was a lucky kid. You know, I had all the support in the world that you could ever need.
Well, that it really pays off because you are something special.
It did. My gratitude is huge to my family. It's just huge. And my teachers too. You know, I grew up at a time when public schools in New York State where I grew up were good. They were really good. You know what I mean? And I had music teachers that I'm still friendly with today. You know, I was a very, very lucky kid.
You know what? When listening to your albums and listening to all of your work, what I find so refreshing about it all is that you and the people you work with pay such close attention to like the forgotten thing in music, which is the arrangement. Your vocal arrangements and the musicality and the instrumentation on them are gorgeous. I remember we watched the Birdland's Save Birdland special, and that arrangement of Put on a Happy Face, I wrote you right after. I was like, what is that arrangement? Like, you have such gorgeous arrangements of songs that have been done for so long, but you take such a new approach to them that they're so refreshing. They're like,
well, you know, I work with incredible arrangers and musicians and things, and who are such amazing collaborators. Do you know what I mean? It's like I'll work with, pianists like Michael Kanan on the East Coast and Max Hamer on the West Coast, who will write an arrangement for me based on how I really feel about the tune, on the story I care about telling. It isn't just like geniusy jazz for jazz's sake kind of thing. You know what I mean? So I feel like it relates much more back to the composer and lyricist's intentions and stuff. And I find that to be important. I want to carry the torch properly, if that makes sense,
For sure.
I think you've done a very good job.
Thank you.
I think I last saw you at the Hollywood Bowl. Did you do, was it a Peggy Lee tribute?
I did a Peggy Lee tribute there, but the last one I did was an Ella tribute there.
Right, with Andre Day.
Yes, with Andre Day,
I saw that too.
Jr. That was a fabulous night. Liz Wright sang on that. It was singers. I was backstage like, why am I here? What am I doing here? This is ridiculous, But I did a Peggy Lee tribute there too, and that was a really cool cast too. B. Arthur was in that cast. Nancy Sinatra was in that cast. That was a cool gig. I was backstage at that one, kind of flipping, especially because I got to meet B. Arthur. That was all I needed in my life.
How many times have you played the bowl?
3.
Wow.
3? Yes, 3.
Amazing. Amazing. I mean, it's amazing. And now you're in LA, right?
Yeah, I live here now and I love it here. There's just such a wonderful community of musicians here. I just feel so at home in the jazz community here, and Lord knows the vocalists in town. It's just lunacy, the kind of singers that live here, the versatility and the work that they can do. I'm knocked out by our community here, and I was just really welcomed into it, and it's good here. It's good.
And how has it been for you the last 10, 11 months?
Oh man. Well, I mean, obviously all touring ground to a complete halt. So that's been difficult, but I do an online show every single month, and that's been super fun. A Zoom show, just duo with my pianist out here. We get tested, we quarantine, we pre-record, like we plan everything out because, we're parents, we're trying to keep our families safe and everything. And the numbers here are a little scary. So we do one of those every month, and I made an album. I have an album coming out in a month. So managed to get the pandemic record made. I'm excited about that.
So tell us about it. What's on it? Give us the sneak peek, please. Okay, you don't have to.
No, I can. No, that was the first ones I'm telling. Like, it's exciting because I haven't really talked about it much yet. I haven't announced the title in public yet. This is the first time. I've only talked about it at shows where it's like just a few people, but the title's Come What May. And it's, of course, Great American Songbook, because that's my heart and soul and my entire, reason for living outside of, parenthood and like all that. But I chose a lot of tunes that I felt I had sort of become ready to sing. Maybe I'd been waiting for a while, needed a little more maturity, a few more years, kind of thing. So there's some music like that on the record, and then some totally, COVID inspired moments, a couple songs just that are about traveling,
right?
How much I miss traveling, But
yeah. So you have an event coming up. Is it this weekend?
It's tomorrow.
Tomorrow. I have a poster. Look at that.
Yes. That's my show tomorrow with Max Hamer, who is an incredible pianist out here in Los Angeles. We pre-recorded the other day so we could be safe. But what we do, which is fun, is we hang out in the Zoom chat during the show and we answer everybody's questions and hang out and just, chill with the audience the whole time. It's actually been really fun doing it that way.
I love it. And people can just go to jazzbox.com/Jane and get their tickets.
Yes.
Love it.
And you can buy tickets up until like 5 minutes before showtime.
Wow.
Well, when I think about like romantic evening, Valentine's Day weekend, like, is there a better voice than Jane Monheit to cuddle up and have some, I don't know, get some takeout and just stare at each other?
You guys are way too nice.
What voice would you rather hear? And what songs, literally?
I love it.
Well, it was the songs part was fun because the entire show is requests. Oh my goodness, there's a loud airplane going by my apartment. You guys hear that? My window's closed too, and you can still hear it. But anyway, thanks, Los Angeles. Anyway, yeah, the entire show was requested by the audience members. So every single tune in the show was a special moment from somebody to somebody else. And I was able to use almost everybody's requests. There were only a couple things I couldn't do. So almost all the requests that came in, I was able to do. So it's kind of special that way. You know, it'll be fun.
That's so sweet. I love it. I love it. So also, we have been communicating lately because Robert, over a year ago, his sax player on his album approached me and asked whether I would take a meeting with Robert to release his album on my LML Music record label. And we had a conference call. Ted Firth is doing his arrangement. So I was like, I know it's going to be brilliant, right? And so I said, absolutely. I didn't know Robert at all. And right when COVID hit and all the tours shut down, I came home and Robert texted me some questions about licensing for the album. We started chatting. That's really when we developed our friendship. We did 20 weeks of this show without ever meeting.
Wow. That's amazing.
I know. And then he was out here to record some vocals, and we actually met and got to spend a day, which was fantastic. But he had a duet on his album, and I listened to the arrangement, and he said, "What do you think?" And I said, "Jane Monheit." That's what I think.
That's never going to happen.
And you have been so generous and
beyond.
Oh, come on. I was thrilled. It was so much fun to do. And like, I'm sorry, anybody who sings, like, I think we all agree that there's nothing better than singing together with other singers. Like, that's what we really want to do is sing together, right? What feels better than that? So when anyone asked me to sing a duet, I'm so thrilled. I was just thrilled you guys asked.
We had backup plans because we were like, this is the dream duet.
We're like, Jane's not available. Robert's cousin, Stella,
right? Exactly.
Oh my God!
My elementary music teacher, and you have been so kind and so generous with your time and your talent.
Oh my goodness!
I want to play just a tiny little snippet.
Oh, you can? Oh, yay!
Never played it.
How many times a day do I think of you?
How far would I travel to be where you are?
How far is the journey from here to the stars? And if I ever lost you,
how much would I cry? How deep is the ocean? How high is the sky?
Oh my God, we sound good.
So dreamy. I love it.
That's all.
So dreamy.
Dream come true, really.
Oh my gosh. No, for me too. You sound so beautiful. And it's so wonderful that we got to sing these beautiful, like, intertwining parts and harmony together. I mean, what a joy that is. I hope we get to do it live.
I can't wait. The stress I had because I can't sing. I'm the worst. When I was a kid, I went to Juilliard Prep, and the teacher there used to say, "You need to go home and work on harmony." And I was like, "No, I don't, because I'm just going to be the melody guy. I can't do it." And then Ted writes this vocal arrangement, and I'm like, I'm going to send this to Jane Monheit, and I am not singing the right parts at all. I'm so nervous.
Oh my God, it was so perfectly awesome.
Oh, you
Loved
are
it.
You are
Loved it.
Well, it was
Loved it.
so fun to do. I literally was sitting right here in this chair at this computer in that video. Like I was in the same exact, I was probably wearing the same because I live in this sweater. But this is my
None of us
quarantine
have,
sweater.
have changed in 11 months. Let's face it.
But it was just so fun.
I sometimes have to like go to YouTube and look at our episode from the week before to make sure I don't wear the same sweater.
I have to do that with my online shows.
Right? I know.
I am so excited for your album next month. I know that me and Lee will be right there to pre-order it and stream it and listen. And I can't wait for you to be back on the road and to see you again in concert.
She can't wait either.
I'm dying. I mean, it's been amazing to be home with my family for a really consistent amount of time for the first time ever. But I need to go sing. I need to. I feel like a crazy person. You know what I mean? It's time.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I
just need to take them with me.
That's right. There you go.
Come on.
I say post-pandemic, all riders have changed. Right?
Yeah. It's going to be a different scene.
It's going to be a different scene.
Yeah.
So I want everybody, and I mean everybody, to tune in tomorrow night, the 12th, Friday the 12th, jazzvox.com/Jane. What time is it?
6 p.m. Pacific time. But if you're somewhere else, even if you're here, it doesn't matter where you are. If you want to watch the show at another time, we'll send you a YouTube link. So, I mean, if you want to watch the show with us and everybody hanging in the chat, 6 p.m. tomorrow night Pacific time. Otherwise, the show is yours to watch anytime you want.
Love it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Thank you. This was fun.
Let us know when the new album is available, and we will definitely promote it on the show.
Thank you so much.
You are
I
welcome.
appreciate it.
Anytime. Mwah.
Thanks so much, you guys.
Bye.
Thank you.
Oh, how fun.
Lee really made that all happen, honestly. Like Lee.
Well, she's delightful. She's just delightful. And, she was so open and willing to just hop on board and participate. And I just think it's great. I think it's great. So couple things. Next Wednesday is the launch of our new series, the Broadway Cast Reunion Series. And I'm just looking here. Here we are. There it is. Broadway Cast Reunion Series. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook and BroadwayCastReunion.com will tell you all of the upcoming shows. We launch on Wednesday with the original principal cast of 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific. Yes, and if you go to BroadwayCastReunion.com, you can order your tickets. It's just $15. We're selling tickets because we are paying out-of-work Broadway actors. That is our goal, and we're paying them well.
We are.
So we want you to buy a ticket.
Come on, $15. It's like, what did we say before, Lee? A large Frappuccino?
Oh, less. Like
exactly.
Two-thirds of a Frappuccino.
You can't even cross the George Washington Bridge for $15.
Is that true?
Yes, it's like $16.
That's so funny.
I just don't tell my mom's watching. You just go through it. Let them
love
find
it.
you.
What?
She's gonna be so mad that I.
Your mom?
I'm gonna get a call. Do you need money? Are you going through the tolls?
Oh.
Yeah, she knows.
He's paying the tolls. If you want to support our show, feel free. We have virtual tip jars at Venmo and PayPal, and that helps us pay the bills. For the show. Can you believe this is our 43rd week? That's crazy.
Insane. We haven't run out of people.
We're 9 shows away from a year of programming. I mean, it's just nuts. It's absolutely nuts. Next week, I think we've got Leslie Ann Warren and Renee Taylor, which I'm so excited about. So that'll be fun.
It's going to be A lot of fun.
That'll be a great conversation, right?
Yes, they've worked. I mean, like, talk about a body of work. I mean,
Unbelievable. So I think we've covered it all, right?
we gave away passes. We talked about the Broadway cast reunion. We announced The Lion King exclusively here because we have not announced it publicly.
That's right. On March 10th, we are adding another cast reunion. We're going to have 2 of them a month. It's The Lion King, and we just confirmed today that Heather Headley, the original Nala on Broadway, is going to join us for that conversation. I'm thrilled. So you do not want to miss this series. We have to redo the graphic to include The Lion King because it just happened.
Yes.
But Wednesday, we debut with Frozen with the original Broadway principal cast. And we are
nervous
about it.
Are you nervous? Are you excited?
I'm excited. It's a lot, but I'm excited. And we have a production designer and engineer for this series, so I don't have to push all the buttons. I just have to talk. So that's great. And we've had the cast of Frozen on this show previously, so I'm just excited to see them all again.
Me too, and catch up with them. Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's this humongous group of Broadway and musical fans that have been so supportive about the show, joining our contest, posting about it. So it'll be fun that they'll be here too.
Yeah. So follow us on the Instagram and on Facebook. We always post, especially on Instagram, all announcements and everything else, all the time. So have a great night, and we'll see you next week, hopefully on Wednesday for the Frozen cast reunion, and on Thursday here at Quarantine Cabaret and Cocktails.
Bye.
Take care. Bye, Robert.
Bye, everyone.